Hello and welcome. My name is Thomas, and in this video, we're going to talk about the fundamentals of a book launch website and why you need one. Okay, so at the present time, I work on a pretty wide variety of projects, but they tend to stay within the realm of the web. So I do a lot of WordPress websites, and then if I go off into the print realm, it typically ends up being something like brand identity or things that have to do with logo design or building visual aspects of a brand. And now I'm even doing, as we see with this channel, doing a lot more video. But before I took on a lot of websites, I specialized almost 100% in doing book jacket designs. So I have designed literally hundreds and hundreds of book covers. And some of these range for independent authors who are just getting started to top tier best-selling authors for traditional publishing houses. So I've had pretty much the opportunity to see the wide range, the gamut of different authors at different stages in building their platform for their writing and for their books. And as I had been working with a number of different publishers and a lot of different authors, like I said, some working with publishers and some who are independent authors who are working on their own, the common thread that I always saw among the successful authors, it doesn't matter if, again, we're talking independent first, like unpublished author publishing for the first time, or a best-selling author of a traditional publishing house, they always had this one thing, and that is a book launch website. So you might be thinking, well, I don't even have a book. I mean, I'm thinking about writing one, but I don't have one yet. Well, that's perfect. If you don't have a book yet, or if you're in the midst of writing one, or even if you want to write one, that is the perfect time to start considering your book launch website, because the time when you want to start marketing and promoting, and maybe I'll save this for another video. I'll talk a little bit about what I've learned throughout the years of working in the publishing industry. But the time to start marketing your book is before you even write it. So the sooner, obviously that's a little difficult to do if you don't even know what your topic is. However, the point is you want to start marketing your book as early as you possibly can. People need to know about it in advance. I can't tell you the number of authors I've worked with who wait until after the book comes out to start trying to sell it, and it rarely, if ever, works. Okay. So let's answer this fundamental question. Why would you want a book launch website? Isn't it good enough just to tweet out the link to Amazon or to Barnes & Noble or whatever, or Audible or wherever you want people to find it? And the answer is no. Because what a lot of the successful authors do is they don't isolate one book as its own marketing campaign. What a lot of the best authors do is they set the book launch up in such a way as to not only sell the books, but to build their own platform in the process. So if you've watched this channel in the past, you know that I love to harp on the idea of building an email list. And this is what the best authors do. So whether or not these authors have a business on the side and this book is just an external piece of that business, or if they're just trying to build a platform as an author, the email list is essential, not so much for the first book, but for the second and for the third. Because as you're building that email list, you're going to be able to tell the people about your next book. Once you launch that second book, you're going to build that email list through the book launch in order to release your third, which you'll build your list further to launch the fourth. So you get the idea. This works very similarly with launching products, but there's some special things that you can incorporate into a book launch that can make it truly successful. Okay, so recently I had the opportunity to custom build a WordPress book launch website for Wall Street Journal and New York Times bestselling author Michael Hyatt for his new and upcoming book, Free to Focus. So what I thought we would do in this video is I would show you the page and just kind of break down some of the key fundamentals for things that you should keep in mind as you are creating your own book launch website. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so what we're looking at here, and I will go ahead and provide a link to this web page as well. It's just freetofocusbook.com, but I had a chance to work with Michael's team, and this is definitely, as you might guess, not Michael's first book. They've done a number of books, but they just have so many things on this page that are correct that I just wish more authors would do. So let's go ahead and break it down piece by piece. So here's the first thing to keep in mind. This navigation doesn't actually take you to different pages on the site. I can't stress this enough. If you're building a book launch website, you do not want people clicking around to different places. That's the first thing. You want, if you're going to be moving around, you're going to be moving around within the same page. You're never going to distract away from the main call to action, which is to pre-order and or to claim bonuses. And we'll get to that here in a moment why this bonuses aspect to the page is so important. Okay, so first, let's go ahead and just break this down section by section. First thing is to have a very clear headline. What is the benefit of this book? Because there are millions of books, and there are a ton of books now, especially with self-publishing, more and more people coming out with new books every single day. The floodgates have opened thanks to self-publishing. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, from the reader's perspective, what's the benefit? What's the transformation of this book? In other words, why should I care, right? So here is the headline for this particular book. Get more done and get your life back. Discover a proven productivity system in the latest book from New York Times bestselling author Michael Hyatt. It's short, it's to the point. We designed it big and bold so it's clear, and of course it matches the book cover. So again, and then you have your primary call to action here, which, as you might guess, would be to pre-order now. Okay, so now let's get to the secondary call to action, and this is, you're gonna start seeing this tie into what I was talking about earlier when it comes to successfully launching a book. Your goal when you're launching a book is not merely to launch the book, it's to launch and to grow the platform behind that book in the process, and that's where these bonuses come in so handy. Okay, so we've got these bonuses, so let's go ahead and click on that and see what happens. So here is where you're able to purchase the book, and if you purchase the book, you receive a number of bonuses. So let's take a look at what happens here, right? So a ton of value. And by the way, as we're going through this, I do recommend that I'm going to be purchasing this book. You should purchase it as well. So as we're using this as an example, get the books. It's a really, all the productivity stuff that Michael Hyatt comes out with is great. You've heard me talk about the Full Focus Planner in the past. So again, same productivity methodology behind this book. So highly recommend it. Okay, so let's go ahead and break this down a little bit, what we have here. I'm not going to go through each of these pieces, but they go through and they do a really good job of giving the value of each of the free bonuses they give if you purchase the book. So if you order anywhere from 1 to 9 copies, they give you $498 worth of bonuses. Then if you order over 10 copies, you can get over $798 worth of bonuses. So you get the idea. So here's kind of how that works in terms of the workflow. So we've got step 1, which is to buy the book. Step 2 is to claim the bonuses. So you click buy here, and then what you see here is a number of different places where you can order the book, and then they've got a complete, we show a whole list of retailers wherein you can get the book. So you can jump over to Amazon, and then you can actually purchase the book there or wherever you want. Okay, so here is reason number 1, before we get to the bonuses, why this is a good idea to have a book page. The reason is because it makes it easier for somebody to find the book where they want it. Okay, because one of the things you have to keep in mind is not everybody has an Amazon account. A lot of people maybe have a book club membership with Barnes & Noble. Make it easy is the bottom line for people. Make it extremely easy for them to buy the way they want to buy it, where they want to buy it. And so that's point number 1. With a book launch website, you can always tell them to go to mygreatbook.com, and then you'll be able to order the book wherever you want. You want it from Audible, you want it from Barnes & Noble, you want it from Amazon, wherever you want it, whatever format you want it, just go there and all the links will be there for you. You don't have to worry about this long, gigantic Amazon link that people are never going to be able to remember. You just say go to freetofocusbook.com and all the details will be there. So that's step 1. We want to make sure that we make it extremely easy for people to be able to purchase the book, and part of that process is having this built into the page. Okay, so let's say we've gone through and we've ordered the book. Then we've got step 2 here, right, which is to claim the bonuses. So if we click on that, what we have here is a place where we can enter our first name, last name, email, receipt number to verify that we have ordered this, and then of course the information about whether or not we're a business owner. So collecting information about the particular type of people who are purchasing the book, And then as we go through this process, I'm not going to go through the whole process here. At this point, they're going to deliver those bonuses to the person. However, what do we have in exchange for that is their email lists or their email address. So again, growing the list. But the point is that you're offering a massive amount of value that goes far beyond the book. So here's just some quick ideas. And again, I'll probably do a future video just based upon things that you can offer as a bonus alongside your book. Things like mini courses, you can offer, additional ebooks or audiobooks or virtual or digital files that accompany the book, things that take it further, worksheets, checklists. I mean, the sky's the limit. But the whole idea is to not merely to just collect their email address. From their perspective, what you're doing is you're providing more value beyond the book. You're taking the book further, and all you're asking for in exchange for all of that value is an email address. And that's not so that you can spam them, it's so that you can continue to help them in the future with even more value. So again, completely different topic, but those are important things to keep in mind. So as you can see, just from what we've explored thus far, we're going way beyond just the idea of selling a book. We're building an email list at the same time in preparation for the next launch, while at the same time, and even more importantly, we're helping the people who are reading the book to ensure they get the most out of it possible. Okay, so we've kind of covered the key fundamental pieces here, but let's go ahead and see how the other elements in this page help to facilitate the two things we already talked about. So we've got those two calls to action. Again, if you want to make it really simple, people can just click immediately below here. These links go to these various retailers. A subheading where we've got some more information about the book. Again, you can kind of think of this as a sales page. When we've got something like an Amazon page, you are limited to whatever Amazon gives you. Whereas if you have something built yourself, you can write the sales copy, position it where you wanted it, have the headlines tie into those things so that you can show people the benefits and the features that are built into the book itself, what is inherently valuable about it. Okay, so we go down and we've got those repeated calls to action. And here's another piece, and this is very important, and so many people miss out on this. You need a book trailer for almost every book, and it doesn't have to be as fancy as what Michael has here. He's got a wonderful book trailer. Doesn't have to be that fancy, but I do recommend a book trailer, especially if you write fiction and you've got a story that you're telling, or you're a memoir of some sort. Try to put together or hire someone to put together a very simple, short book trailer that helps give people a reason to invest their time and energy into a book. Because a book, compared to training and a number of other things, isn't quite as expensive. A book is relatively inexpensive, but it does take a pretty good investment of time. And so you want to be aware of that to overcome any objections that people might see. They need to see the inherent value in the book and what you're providing through that book. Okay, so there's that. And again, we've got it broken down into 3 specific categories that he's going to help you excel in through the book. Again, very important. This is also very important and something that I see overlooked a lot. And this is another advantage over an Amazon page, is that we get to find out a little bit more about the author. Rather than seeing that little teeny author photo on the back of the book, or if you're listening to the audiobook and you never even see the author, it's nice to be able to see a nice, big, professional photo of the author and find out a little bit more about what he or she does. These things are really important. We want to know who it is that we're reading 300-400 pages about, or 200 to 300 or 400 pages of information from that person. It really does help to set the stage for why what they're saying is worth reading. Okay, so Michael Hyatt has that, of course, worked out really well throughout here. And this is another piece. So important to any book are the testimonials, are the endorsements. Because again, to kind of add on to the previous piece of why it is so important to talk about the author, is the people who are talking about the author. The testimonials are a great way to grant authority to the person, especially if the people who are endorsing the book are well-known, people you've heard of. So we've got Tony Robbins, John C. Maxwell. So people who a lot of people in this space, in the leadership or development space, have heard of. So that is only going to help to reinforce why this book is a good idea to get. And let's say, you're a brand new author and you don't necessarily have a ton of, really well-known famous people. That's okay. Work with clients or customers or people who have actually in some way received success through your methods, and just get testimonials from them. The key is to have someone who you've worked with or who can vouchsafe for what you have done so that they can provide information about who you are. They can shine light from another direction rather than just coming from yourself. Okay, so we've already kind of gone through this section, the bonuses section. This isn't always required, but if you want to go the extra mile and add more information, this is a great way, frequently asked questions that is, this is a great way to overcome objections. So if you've got frequent questions about what you're talking about or teaching in the book, this is a great way to address and overcome those things so that those who may be on the fence about whether or not they want to invest the time and effort and energy into reading the book, the common question, will this work for me? Or, is this interesting? Or whatever it would be, you can address those in a frequently asked questions section. Again, if you're doing something like fiction or a memoir, doesn't really apply as much. That's why I say this isn't something that's always essential, but it can be helpful if you are selling a book, especially in the business or marketing space, or in an area where you're teaching or training a method for something. Okay, and then the last piece we have here is a way to get in contact. It's great to have a nice little area where people can get in touch for press interviews, people on podcasts and even radio and TV, depending on what you're talking about in the book. Especially if you're working with a publicist, it's going to be really important that you make it easy. You give people the pitch from which they can promote you and your book, or at least ask questions about your book, putting you as an expert. A book launch is a great way to find those different resources. Again, working with a publicist or even just doing it yourself. Because again, podcasters, even TV stations, even radio stations are always looking for content. And there just may be a chance that your book and your message might fit within their schedule on a topic they want to discuss. Okay, and then at the end, we just kind of have repeated here some of the information about the book, and then, of course, to click back up to this section. Really basic, really clean, but again, I can't recommend enough how important it is to have a book launch website. Just some sort of, even it doesn't have to be this fancy, it doesn't have to have all these elements, but it is important that you have a home somewhere on the web for every single book that you produce. So one of the things we did actually create over at Notable Themes, you can go to notablethemes.com/bookstand. So what you can do is you can set up your own one-page scroller website that has a spot for your book trailer, has a spot where people can buy from the various retailers, has a spot where people can get in touch for media and press releases, has a spot for testimonials, and of course the all-important areas where you can integrate your ConvertKit account or your email service provider so that you can offer bonuses along with your book launch. It just makes it really simple and easy to set up your own book launch website without needing to know how to code or even hire a developer if you're not quite at that stage yet. Okay, so I just wanted to take some time today just to kind of shine some light on the importance of creating a book launch website. I know I've worked with tons of authors in the past, and those who are successful always set this type of page up in order not only to build the amount of sales they get with their book, but also to grow the platform from which that book was produced. So, as always, if you found this video useful, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.